Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of We Can Do This. And I welcome you all to my channel. My name is Julie, and I come to you on Saturdays at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to talk about self help topics in the hopes that I'm not only helping myself, but helping you as well in your lives. And I hope that I've been doing this now for about a year and a half. And I hope in that time that I have been helping you. I know some of you have reached out to me, and I really appreciate it. So, to begin today, I'm going to start with, of course, subscribe and be sure to give me the thumbs up if you appreciate what I'm doing here. And I also always give a disclaimer on I am not a trained physician. I am not trained in any way, shape, or form, other it to be a doctor or a therapist or a psychiatrist. I'm just me. And I've gone through a lot of things in my life, and I created this channel in the hopes that I can help someone else in my journey through my research and what I've experienced personally. So, with that being said, we're going to start on our topic today, and we're going to be talking about aging. Now, I have to be honest, I have no problem with aging. I'm 58. I'm very proud of that. I've mentioned it on my channel before. Um, but unfortunately, I'm going to say probably since January, and especially in the last 2 months in particular, I've been feeling a lot of self pity and about aging. And I can pinpoint exactly the time it started, and I can pinpoint the time it got worse. So for me, it was when I started my new job in January. They have a restroom lighting that when you look in the mirror, you can see every little imperfection. And that was really upsetting for me because I was pretty happy with myself up until that point. And after the last couple months, I'm getting some aches and some pains and some cracking going on that didn't happen before. And it's been a little bit upsetting for me. Um, but I don't define myself as an old person. In fact, I get really offended when people tell me that or I hear that. The number doesn't bother me. Being 58 doesn't bother me. What bothers me is society and their definition of what is an elderly person or who's older. Like I said, I'm very offended by that and I'm really very angry about it. But I think I'm more angry about my emotions. The last couple months have brought me to this point of just twisting my perspective in what it means to be 58 and what it means to be getting older. Um, I don't have anything, life threatening. I just have these things going on that some I don't understand, some I'm trying to work with, but I've come to the conclusion I'm a very blessed person, and I know I am. I have great people around me, and my health is overall really good. But the reality of time passing by, I have my moments where it really depresses me, and I know I'm not alone there. I know that a lot of us are feeling that, time's our enemy and that we're totally stressed, but I've come to the realization that I need to focus on my life and to stop making it a tragedy and deal with it in my new normal. And there's nothing wrong with that. Um, we're all unique and we all have our own different ways of being unique and our own journeys and meeting our terms, in this world. So we're going to talk about 14 things that can help us in this journey of getting older and going forward in our lives, and to realize we need to stop listening to society and what their definition of it is, because I can tell you right now, and I want to bring this to you, it is not my definition of it, and I really honestly and truly believe it's not your definition either. So let's get started. So the first and foremost thing is, and we've talked about this before, be kind to yourself. You know, don't beat yourself up because you're whatever age you are. My problems are small, what little things I'm facing now. Um, I realized that my moments of depression and despair, I really had to go back to square one and focus and realize that they're really pretty pathetic excuses for feeling sorry for myself because let's face it, there's so many people out there that have so many more serious issues than any of us do, and that's where our caring and our true nature of feeling sorry and supporting somebody else who's in a much more challenging place than we are needs to be, not with feeling sorry for ourselves. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is we always want to look our best. Now, I want to define this a little bit because there's another societal thing that is going along with this here. So we need to stop criticizing ourselves, and we always need to look our best. And when I say we need to look our best, I'm not talking about we need to get tuxedos and fancy gowns and spend hundreds of dollars on hair and face and body and all this other stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, you guys, my loyal followers have been watching me now for a year and a half. When I say look your best, I mean you need to dress and do your hair and your face and take care of your body to where you're happy and comfortable in your skin. You're not doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for you. You need to dress in a way that you're comfortable with. And I very much do. I'm very much a jeans girl. I wear it to work. I do not wear the hoodies, that have the college sayings and stuff on them. But I do wear plain hoodies, or I wear my company logo clothing, which I'm totally fine with. And I find that whenever I dress for me, my comfort, and who I feel confident in myself in my own skin, it really does give me a little boost of confidence, and it makes me feel better about my self-esteem and myself. And that's what it's really about, isn't it? We need to feel comfortable in our own skin. We're not in it for anybody else. I mean, we're in it for ourselves. So we need to remember to set the bar. We need to remember to set the bar in our lives at an attainable level. We can never forget, and I'm renowned for this. This is what I'm known for on this channel. I totally talk about baby steps, baby steps, baby steps all the time. We need to look at our lives, and no matter what our age is, and as we get older and we move closer to higher numbers in our age, we need to remember we need to keep the bar set at an attainable level and take those small steps to achieve it. And in that journey that we're on, we need to remember that we are going to experience both moments of joy and moments of true despair. Now, that's saying with every life, our whole lives, we've experienced both. But when you get into the ages of being more advanced, I think you experience a lot more of them, a lot more extreme, but in a different way. And I believe it or not, actually in my research, they said that you actually are happier and continue to get happier once you turn 50. I can't say that I've achieved that yet, but I'm reaching out to you guys now. Have any of you felt this way? I mean, I post this on Facebook. Reach out to me, respond on Facebook. Tell me what you're feeling. What is your journey like now? I'm really, really love to hear from you because I'm really curious to see, am I the only one who's feeling this way right now? Am I the only one seeing it as a challenge? Am I the only one having these moments? I don't think I am. But I'd love to hear from you and to see, what you think about it. And I think that in the definition of a moment, we need to understand, I think there's really too much focus on what's past, the moments that are gone, that are fleeting. We just can't we just can't, we look back on it. And, we get really upset about that. And I think that we need to remember that we're sitting here now in this moment. I have this moment with you, and I'm savoring every moment that I'm talking to you. And I have a lot more moments in my life coming yet. I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry because all these moments are gone now. I need to remember that there's a lot more moments that I have yet to live and to do the best that I can to move forward and to find the happiness and respect for each of these moments that I have remaining. And we need to see this as not a problem. We need to see it as a challenge. There's a very big difference between a problem and a challenge. Let's face it, whenever you feel like something is a problem, you feel like there's just this hole that you're in that you've got to dig out of. But a challenge, not so much. A challenge is something that you feel is attainable, something that you know you can do. You may have to work for it, but you can get there. And that's what this is all about, in this journey. It's about facing challenges and seeing them not as problems, but as something we can do and we can face. And we need to make time our friend. Time is not our enemy. And I think now, with all the stress and the way that our busy lives go and the way the environment is in society, and that's very much a strong theme. But that's not true. We need to savor each moment we have. Whether I'm working, I'm sleeping, I'm posting, or I'm on my laptop and taking in new information. I cherish all of that because it's a moment that I've actually done something, I've achieved something, even in the littlest way. Don't work against time. Let it work for you. Be its partner. We need to cherish that relationship. And so, moving forward on to number 8, we need to keep moving. Now, I am not talking about a structured exercise program. I'm not talking about you need to do 30 minutes on a treadmill every day, or you need to do so many chin-ups every day, or you need to do weightlifting, or whatever it is. We get bombarded by enough of those messages every day. I'm talking about just moving, whether it's doing housework, whether it's finding something new, a new activity that you can do based on whatever changes you're seeing, whether physically, mentally, whatever that is. You can find other things to do out there, and I'm just throwing this out here as an example. Say you have trouble walking now because you have trouble with your feet or your legs or your back or whatever it may be. Swimming is out there, and you don't have to swim the English Channel. I'm talking swimming. I'm talking moving in the water. It's a lot gentler, on your joints and on your muscles. It's something that you can adapt to and appreciate and enjoy. There are things out there. There's so many different things out there. We just need to change our way of thinking and looking at things in moving forward. Now, number 10. And I'm going to tell you a mini story here about me because it's something that happened to me this week. The 10th thing is to connect with others, even if it's in a small way, and I mean, friends and family, that's just a given, coworkers, whatever. But I have to tell you about something that happened to me this week, and it was going into work, but it wasn't in the work environment. So I had to park in a different parking lot this week because there was some services going on in the parking lot I typically park in. So it's a little bit longer walk, which I don't mind. I get my steps in, every day. So as I'm walking to the front door of the company, I hear these steps behind me, and I had seen this gentleman get out of his car, and I've seen him before. He works in our plant, but the one characteristic you have to know is he's very tall, really tall. And I'm like a little short, stubby 5'3", and my little legs can only go so fast. So I let him pass me, say, okay, they're going to get in long before I am, I'll go in when I go in. Well, this gentleman was nice enough and kind enough to wait for me and open the door for me. And I looked at him, I said, "Thank you so much." And he was so nice. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, no problem." So I said to him, I said, "Well, you have a lot longer legs than my little legs can go." And he laughed and chuckled, and he was nice enough to stay in the lobby and open the second door for me. And I smiled at him. I said, "Well, you have a good day." And he said, "You too." And I have to tell you, that little exchange between us really put a smile on my face. And I knew I had a bad day coming, but it was nice enough to at least get it started on a very comforting and peaceful moment. So I really appreciate that. You can connect with people no matter what. Now you have to be careful with it. I'm not saying get into the massive conversations, but a smile goes a long way. And these little communications, whether it's you see workers in stores or someone who's just having a challenging day, whether it's a firefighter, a police officer, an emergency responder of any type, a smile and a kind word does go a long way. Number 11. At this point, we need to find the meaning in what we do, what we say, and how we move forward in our life. We need to find the purpose. And I'm not talking about a hobby. This is above and higher up than that. I'm talking about what moves you at this stage in your life. What moves you? What gives you the passion and the meaning to be able to move on with your life and feel like you're making a difference? It's pretty deep, but that's what I'm trying to say here. So also with that, we need to make sure, we treat ourselves every day. Now, it can be food. I'm with the next guy. I love a caramel sundae with whipped cream as much as the next guy does. So, I get that and I'm in. But a treat doesn't necessarily have to be food. A treat can be calling someone that you haven't talked to in a long time that means something to you, but you just don't find that time in your life. I've done that a couple times, in the last year, and it really is kind of a treat for me because they're people that I care about, and I feel bad, that I can't be there with them all the time. But I appreciate those times and it is a treat for me. So, kind of keep that in focus. It's not just food, and it can be, but there's other things, that can be a treat as well. So, number 13, and I think this is a big one, at least it is for me. We need to appreciate what age we are and the life that we've experienced coming to this point. Now, we all have our regrets. We all have things we've done that are maybe not so nice. We are at a point, though, where those are things in our past and the punishment's over. Don't punish yourself anymore. Where we're at, we've accomplished a lot at this point in our lives, and we need to appreciate that and forget the past and to know that today is today. Tomorrow is going to be tomorrow, and it's another opportunity for us to accomplish something and to find meaning and to move on and feel comfortable in our skins and just savor every moment. So now the 14th thing and the last thing I'm going to mention is, and this has two meanings, so stick with me here. The first, the acronym is GOD. Now, this has two meanings. The first meaning is obviously a religious connotation. And of course, on this channel, I've told everyone I'm a Christian, so that has a strong, that's strong for me. But at the same time, it is also an acronym. And it stands for gratitude over despair. And it means appreciate what you have. Appreciate what you've worked hard for, and appreciating those around you who've applauded you in your journey to get where you are now. I have to say that I'm really frustrated and almost angry at what I'm seeing in today's world. Okay, we have a challenging economy. No one is going to deny that. Okay, fine. But the problem is everybody is so convinced that placing blame is where we need to be. That's not where we need to be. I grew up with grandparents and parents who didn't have a lot, but they were good, hardworking people. They were good people. And even if they didn't have a lot, they had a lot of love. They had a lot of support. And they believed in me for who I was, the rebel child that I was. And I see a lot of selfishness. And as the United States, we're very known for being selfish. And that really bothers me. And I see it a lot. I have to be honest in saying that, we have a challenge before us in the economy, but we need to concentrate on what we need, not what we want. If you have a want, that's fine. It's not evil. It's not, but you need to put your needs first and the needs of others first, your family, your friends. When you have what you need, there is a great comfort and satisfaction in knowing that you are okay and everybody else around you is okay. And when things get better again, okay, we can go back to if we want something, okay. But that shouldn't be our drive, especially at this point in our life. We've been there, we've done that. We appreciate. We've worked hard. And we need to keep a focus on that's where we need to keep going. That's what we need to keep shooting for. That's what we need to believe in. So, there is my 2 cents on aging. I hope it's helped you because I was hoping with my research and today was going to help me. I have been struggling, but I am taking these tips under consideration and I am actively working with them and trying to make things better. And I appreciate you being here with me on the ride. And like I said, I'm always here. This is the support that I'm bringing to you, and I hope it's helping you. So with that being said, it's time to sum up the day, shall we? As yucky and horrible and rainy of a day it is. So the first thing is obviously subscribe and like. Please, if you know anybody else, I post this on Facebook. Please share it with them, invite them to watch. And I have a ton of broadcasts out there from the past. You all have them, access to them on Facebook. My channel's out there on YouTube. It's a little hard to find, but you can find it. Please feel free to go back, watch any of the ones you feel you like the topic and want to watch again. I would appreciate it. So now it's time for my teaser. So what am I going to talk about next week? And it's going to kind of be along these lines about aging, kind of, sort of. But I have to tell you, a couple of years ago, I didn't even know what this term meant, but I do now, and I'm kind of more cognizant about it. So next week, what I'm going to talk about is the importance of having a bucket list. Yes, we're going to talk about the bucket list. Absolutely. And some tips on what we can put on that bucket list and what the meaning is behind it. So with that being said, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It's great to be back. I've missed you. I've had an active couple weekends, but it's time to get back to business, and here I am. So it's time to do our ending. We got to do it. I'm here to do it, so let's do it. We can do this. We got this. I can and I will. You will too. I know you can. I believe in you. Believe in yourself because you're amazing. And I couldn't be more supportive. And that's what we're here to do, to be supportive together. So with that being said, until next week, my friends, have a great weekend. Have a great next week. So next Saturday at 4, I will be here again to talk to you and bring you another great topic. So take care. God bless. Stay safe. And until then,